Welcome back, everyone. This is your friendly host and Coach Sisodia, on your one and only Stories of Opportunity. If you're logging in for the first time, I would love to host you. And as always, we are happy to bring this curated talks powered by and supported by S Vision Consultants and sponsored by one and only Mithaas Services. For those of you who are seeing me for the first time, I'm a former recruiter, consultant, and currently I'm a coach. I support organization top leaders and executives with their performance and also with their mind shift. Now, today we have got a very special guest, and this guest is none other than the founder of Mithaas Services. I have personally known her for over 2+ years, and she is quite a multi-talented person. She is an author, she's a content creator, she has her own organization. And today, she's going to talk about the magic of content. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite Devanshi Sharma. And with this, let's roll the intro. Hi, Devyanshi.
Hello, Aditya.
It's absolute delight and pleasure to host you on a season finale of Stories of Opportunity Season 2, Episode 8.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure for me. I've been watching the episodes and I was super excited to, have this conversation with you.
Its pleasure is all mine. So, Devyanshi, today it's not about me, it's about you because you have supported our initiative. You were kind enough to sponsor the gift hamper for our winners, our takeaway winners. So, Devyanshi, today I would like to introduce you and we are going to talk about you and the topic, the magic of content. Because you are an influencer, you are a startup founder, and you have worked in a corporate. And above all, our viewers would love to know about you, your services, and about your life experiences.
Sure. Sure. I would be, glad to share them and discuss about those.
Amazing, amazing. So, Devyanshi, please share a bit about yourself because I feel I won't be able to do justice to your introduction.
Sure. So, hey everyone watching us today. I am Devanshi Sharma. I have been writing for over 12 years now. So, I started
Wow.
writing when I was 16 years old. And I have been, writing books. I've written 5 romance novels. And then I worked upon a nonfiction recently. I also have passed out of Miranda House, Delhi University, where I was placed in a multinational company. I worked there as a content developer and an instructional designer, and then started up Mithaas Services, which is my baby startup. Mithaas is a one stop solution for content writing, designing, mentorship, publishing. It's basically one shelter for all the services that any professional person would require. So that's Mithaas all about. And right now we are a team of 8 people working hard
Wow.
to build up, build up companies and personalities via content. So content is what I breathe. I feel that.
Amazing, amazing. So, Devyanshi, we are currently broadcasting live across LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, and we have got amazing members, our supporters, our community who have joined us. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would love that you please share your comments, your thoughts, any question about content, because Devyanshi is going to share some secrets about creating content that you can make viral. So, Devyanshi, tell us a bit about what encouraged you to get into this domain of content, digital marketing, and tell us about your famous case studies.
Sure. So I think, every moment that we are living, be it on Instagram, LinkedIn, be it on the web, in the digital world, every minute, every second, we are consuming content. We know it sometimes, we do not know it at times. And that is the beauty of content. So, Aditya, I absolutely believe that when you are telling something to someone without telling them that you are telling it, that is
Wow.
what is the role of a content creator or content writer. So content is magical in terms of how it can impact people, how it can influence people. That was the sole reason I started writing at 16. The stories used to influence me, that wow, this happened in this story, I could also do it in my life. That moment I kind of felt that yes, stories can inspire people. The content that we write, the content that we build, that can inspire people to change the way they see the world. For a fact that I believe that stereotypes do not need to exist in this world, and the only way I thought I could change that was via content. So I believe that content is absolutely the key factor in bringing a change to the world. So that is why content is something that's very close to my heart. Yeah. uh,
Amazing. There is some network glitch, no issue. So,
no.
this thing, Devyanshi, you individuals work with solopreneurs, you work with entrepreneurs, you even work with working professionals. Tell us a bit
Yes.
about the kind of content that people should.
Yeah. Yeah, Aditya, I heard you that people should.
What content would you encourage a solopreneur, entrepreneur, working professional, a job seeker should focus upon and work around?
Sure. So, being into the content industry for over 1 year and 3 months now, we've worked with companies, brands, solopreneurs, we've worked with the fashion industry, we've worked in the organic farming mode, we've worked with coaches and trainers to build their brand as well. And one thing that I absolutely feel, every person should keep in mind before creating their profile is to build up a content plan. So it becomes super important that we kind of focus on planning what goes on the web, because what goes once, that kind of stays there forever. So it's very important to plan things better, to strategize what goes on your social media, or on your website. So one thing that I believe in is that do not be impulsive about the content if you're serious about it. So take your time, think about it, and then build your brand with content.
Hmm. So tell us more about when you say that take your time and plan around it. Like, what would you suggest? Let's say we have got a yoga instructor or
Right.
a guitarist or a person who is planning to go in for a funding. What kind of content can they create to engage?
Sure. So I think number one in terms of content is why you. So you need to first establish your brand, tell people about it, that this is what I do. This is why I am the person you need to, come up to and get instructions or training from. Secondly, information based content, I think, works wonders, because at the end of the day, if somebody is coming to your profile and following you through, they need to take back something from it as well. So information based content is something that I absolutely believe in terms of branding or presenting your ways. And lastly, of course, the whole idea about what is in the whole training for the other person. So I think that becomes very important, the information based content and what's in it for me as a client or as somebody who wants to get trained in yoga. So that
Amazing,
is what I would
amazing.
suggest.
So we had a similar question by life coach Malini Rastogi, who asked this thing. Okay, so let's also take example of Malini. She's a life coach, she's a healer, she's a Reiki instructor, and she's also a singer.
Oh,
So
lovely.
how should she plan her content that would be engaging, educating, and creating awareness?
Sure, sure. So lovely to know that Malini, you're into so many different fields together. Now, let's also, think about this, the strategizing part in three simple questions. Number one is that why are you on social media? Why are you on that and on that platform that you are posting on? That becomes our first question in terms of strategizing. Question number two to ask yourself is that what are the three adjectives that you would want people to know you with? Let's say that, for Malini, what are the three adjectives that you would want me to think about when I'm going through your LinkedIn feed or your blog? That's question number two. And question number three is that what is my end expectation from my profile or from my content? This is what becomes the most basic thing and also the most important part about strategizing your content. Simple three questions, but they can kind of work in a very magical way when you're creating your content. So these three questions basically: why are you on social media, that platform? What do you expect from it? And what are the three adjectives that absolutely define you as a person when somebody comes on your profile or your blog?
Amazing, amazing. So, a bit of personal question because Shavik has done his homework around you, and Shavik is an avid follower of all our series. So, Shavik has asked this question, and I would like to read it out for you. That, ma'am, how do you fuse into storytelling into writing? What technique can be used to enhance the art of storytelling?
Oh, lovely. That's a beautiful question. Also, storytelling is very close to my heart. So I would love to share and throw light about how I, add stories to the content. So, Aditya, I always believe that when it comes to writing stories, it's all around you. Just look around and you're going to find thousand stories. There would be a story around this cup. There would be a story around your mobile phone. Everything has a story. So the base of finding the stories is observations. When you observe around, that's when you get ideas for your story. You and me are talking right now. This experience is something that I am enjoying. This is an observation. This may go into the next story where I'm writing about, two professionals talking. So stories for me come from observations around, and then writing that into the content, or adding the storytelling bit into branding or marketing based content. It's something that is tricky, but at the same time, if you get it right, then there's nothing that can beat that content. And the ways of getting it right for me personally are: number one, know what you're talking about, know the brand well, know the story behind that brand well or the person, and then try to add it in the stories that you build with the observations. So once we have that done, then so we are super good to go.
Wow, wow, wow. So, tell me this thing, and this is quite important. How can solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, uh, and people who are creating a brand engage on the latest trend of social media? Because I really see you how you are using Instagram and other platform to engage. Like we were just talking before our live that you even engage your family members. That was really a cute video where you had your grandmother and you created an Instagram reel. So tell us, how exactly are you doing this? Because this is
Sure.
something which many people need to learn about.
Right, right. So, the first and foremost thing to understand about social media is that it is very dynamic. What is there today will change tomorrow. The tools, the ways of posting, everything is very dynamic. So, number one, we just need to be open to go with the flow of that platform. That's the first thing that I personally follow. Point number two that I generally keep in mind is that I post what I like to see. So as a person, what content I would engage in, let's say I'm just going through reels, they're very addictive, but then which one I would stop and actually go to the profile and follow, that is the kind of content I like creating. And in a similar fashion, when I'm posting something, it has to entertain me in the first place, or it has to engage me in the first place. That is when it goes that, okay, this can go up on the feed, or this can go on the social media profiles. So like I said, it's not really impulsive. It just needs to be logical enough to be posted, and should go with the three adjectives that we discussed. If that is like in place, then you could definitely create that content.
Amazing, amazing. So now we have got volley of questions which we are getting in live through our various platforms. So
Right.
I would be asking and addressing all of them via you. So
Sure.
the question is, how do you research about your target audience or the target group? Because again, talking about, you have got such a diverse clientele with whom you
Right.
engage. So what is the typical research cycle? Because you have been an instructional designer and a content
Yeah.
lead in Net Limited also. So tell
Yeah.
us about a typical life cycle of content creation, content engagement.
Sure. So that's actually an interesting question, and answering it, I try keeping the Mithas handle separate from the personal account. That's number one. Also, if you're somebody managing a startup or a company as an entrepreneur, and you want to have a personal space as well, first suggestion, keep it separate from each other. It will help you in understanding the audience better. Number two, in terms of research for the audience, I generally see who are the people engaging with my content. So if I'm posting something, who are the kind of people who are coming up to me and talking to me about that particular content piece, or they are engaging in form of saving the post or writing the comments. So I try looking at that. The second thing, Aditya, that I do, and partially answering your question as well, I answer each and every message that I get. And also in the Mithas handle, our team answers each and every message that we get on the handle. What happens is, when you're interacting with people, there is no better research than that you, or you automatically get that these are the people who are interested in your services. This is the place they are coming from. So that
Mhm.
becomes the primary source of research. Of course, additional to that, the analysis that comes from Instagram, from Facebook, from our website, the Google ads, that kind of helps a lot in understanding the localities or the demographic of the people. So, but the first thing, of course, is people directly, and then of course the statistics.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Now I have a follow-up question, and this resonates with what Pampi Bhattacharya has asked us. Like, what are the best ways to build an audience with content, and how can we keep the audience engaged? Now, a
Right.
follow-up question to this is, like, there are niches such as coaches. Like, I'm an executive coach, and my work is quite confidential, which cannot be revealed in public. And most
Right.
of the coaches are one-man army. So, what's
Mhm.
your idea for them? Because it's not possible for senior coaches, veteran coaches, that either they can focus on their business or their clientele or on social media. So
Right.
what is the advice? Because not everyone would be comfortable with the idea of outsourcing. So
Yeah.
your thoughts around this?
Sure. So the first thing is that we kind of misunderstand that content can be done by everyone. So that is one thing that I feel we need to understand, that content is a skill, is something that requires an expert to pitch in into. So that's the first thing. Now, in case we are doing it all by ourselves, that's absolutely fine. But the first thing that needs to be done is to understand what exactly is content. Get a bit of knowledge about the platforms, get a bit of knowledge about content. That becomes the first and foremost thing. You're doing it all by yourself, so you just need to get the skill set initially, after which you can then strategize, plan, and create a cycle of content. This helps a
Mm.
lot, Aditya, that you create a cycle of content, that this time of the month I am going to strategize my content. Next thing, I'm going to post this. There is a schedule. I'm going to use tools that I can get to post my content at a specific frequency, and then similarly follow the same cycle every month. I generally suggest people not to have too much content planned at one go. Some people just plan it for a year and they're like, "Ho gaya," but then it keeps on changing. The platform will keep on changing. So it's important that every month you sit with yourself, ask the questions that we discussed. What is my highlight for this month, and then start posting about that. Adding to it, we have a lot of tools that can help you make content easier, so use those tools as well. And lastly, just one point about the question, like there are coaches or people who can't let everything up on the social media page. So how do we deal with that? So yes, the testimonial bit then becomes a bit difficult, that you can't let everything be up on the page. In that case, with your content, you need to specify what's your expertise. So with your content, you need to let the audience or let the people know that, listen, this is what I do, and this is the reason you should be coming to me. So your content should be speaking for you much more than you speak about the content. That becomes a very important bit.
Amazing, amazing. Now, one of the things which I wanted to ask you before we move ahead, that how would you say how important it is? Like recently, we had got two newses and two funny incidents, such as Pari and
Yeah.
Shweta, and then VLCC, and people were just
Yes.
riding on those trends. Now, I just want to ask you, because how does it help? Because that is only for entertainment purpose and people are
Right.
riding on someone else's success. So what are
True.
your thoughts? How does
Sure.
it
So
work, and does it result in any ROI for the person or not?
right, right. I think we have a lot of interesting things coming up, like you mentioned. And I'll actually quote Yashraj Mukhate, the creator of the party thing. So he mentioned in one of his interviews recently that it's not about creating viral or trending content. It's about creating something that is just funny for you. And when you post it up and people start engaging, that's a bonus that you get. So that is how viral content is created. Like, there isn't a thing or like a checklist that you need to do this for getting viral content. You'll go on YouTube and you're going to find so many things that will be like, ye kaise viral ho gaya? But then it just happens, right? So that is one part about the content thing, that something that engages you, that you believe in, create that. It'll go viral if it has to. If it is engaging, it'll definitely go up to the people. Second thing, that how much can you ride upon the trending thing? With reels coming in on Instagram specifically, it is kind of lucky at times that you use a particular song and it goes like whoosh, it just goes up to 5,000 or 10,000 people. So it is the luck factor in terms of trending. However, as much as original content will pay off, riding on someone's success will not, because you could do it once, twice, and then how long? So it's important that we have our own uniqueness in the content, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be called a second Yashraj or a second somebody. You need to be yourself. Your clientele needs to know you as who you are. So I generally believe in the fact that go with what you believe in terms of content.
Amazing. And the follow-up question: how can a person calculate their ROI if they engage with you?
Sure. So when a person is coming to a post and mentioning that I am interested into this, or any detail about it, so in terms of content, it becomes important to also see that how well that lead is getting converted. Now, here I would just like to divide the content part into two bits. Number one is engaging content. Number two is using the engaging content to generate leads. So when we say that we are generating the leads out of the content, you also need to get the idea that, okay, this is the engagement part that I was doing, but here is where I'm hard selling and I'm getting the ROI from that content. So that becomes pretty important.
Amazing, amazing. That's interesting. And tell us this thing, if someone would like to start by hiring a marketing agency,
Sure.
how much budget should they keep in mind? And what are the parameters that would help them to be patient enough?
Right. So, this is actually a very interesting question. And being in the industry for a while, the budget bit kind of depends upon what the requirement is. Like, the best part about social media is it can start from $100 and go up to 10 lakhs. That's the range that we deal in. Now, when we
Mhm.
talk of the requirement, the first thing becomes that what is it that you are expecting out of the whole project that you're giving to an agency. It's important to have that clear as a client first, and then when people come to us, they speak to us. A lot of
Mhm.
times what happens is we are able to consult them in a better way to strategize the budget too. Sometimes spending everything is not the thing. It's more about planning it strategically and then spending that amount. So in terms of content, it depends upon the requirement, and in terms of lead generation or what the expectation bit is, that needs to be clear in the very first phase. So once that is very clear, when that is crystal clear in the mind of the client and the agency, that is when the project can go in a seamless fashion. That is when it could go ahead. And I would actually like to take an example here that we worked for a Pocket Square brand earlier in this year, and we were working for them for social media handling. We were building up the brand. At that point of time, they were a startup. All they wanted was that people should know that this brand exists. Now, when somebody is crystal clear about their expectation, that is when, as an agency, you can consult with them, and you could tell them that, hey, these are the things we could do. We could invest into blogging, we could do this, and then the strategy goes ahead. So that is how the ROI is generated. The whole idea of the project comes to the success.
Okay. So, what you are saying is that before anyone plans to hire, they need to keep one thing in mind, that awareness is the key. Awareness along with engagement would result into business conversion.
Absolutely, absolutely, Aditya.
Amazing. Amazing. So, Nitish has a question for you. Like, and this is also my personal question, like, what prompted you to just start your own business? And it's not easy to have a team. You have a team of 8 members, and I do envy you, because when I see the activities which you are doing for team engagement, team building, and you travel quite a lot. So, how do you juggle business, writing, client meeting, client negotiation, team building, business proposal? How do you do that?
Yes. So the first thing is I love doing it. I love working a lot. I love doing the things that you mentioned. So that's the first thing that keeps me motivated to work more. Now, coming to how it all started, I honestly believe that there are moments in our lives when we know that this is when take the leap. वरना वापस ये moment नहीं आएगा. So sometimes we kind of stick to that, and we're like, okay, let me just think about it logically in terms of the risk analysis and everything. With me as well, when I was working, I was very happy with the work that I was doing in my company as well. I was extremely happy. I was doing pretty well. Everything was great. But then there was that moment that, listen, Devanshi, if not now, then when? Let's just jump in and get it done. So I took that leap. I took the dive into the pool, and then once you're in the pool of startups, then all you need to do is keep swimming, because if you don't, you drown. So that is what I kind of believed in when I started up. And also, in terms of managing the things together, the lucky part, Aditya, is that they're all connected by one fact, that I'm extremely passionate about the things I'm doing. When it comes to client meeting, it is a part of the role that you play. So it is important that you take out time for those. It is also important to implement it to the team. And I am absolutely lucky, and I always say, there's a post-it on my wall as well that says that it is wonderful working with a family, and that's how we are in the startup too. That's how we
Wow.
function. So it's a completely mutual thing with the team and me as well.
Amazing, amazing. So, one of the things which I talk about is career and life transition. So, weren't you afraid or scared? Because one thing which was quite evident during COVID was many people lost their jobs.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you took this leap, you took this plunge, because see, for us, it is easier to endorse entrepreneur lifestyle, but not everyone has that mindset.
True. True.
So, what is your message for the people who are stuck between taking that plunge and being very vulnerable and
Yeah.
vocal about the need and assistance of friends and family?
Sure. So, like you mentioned so correctly, and I couldn't agree more with you that the entrepreneurial lifestyle, while it looks amazing when you're watching somebody, when you're going through it, well, it's going to drain you out as much as it can. So that is absolutely true. When it comes to taking that plunge or taking that leap, what I have always believed in is that unless you are 200% sure about it, you should not be doing it. Just because you've had a rough day at work, just because it is not working out very well, that project might not be for you. But taking the startup idea or taking the entrepreneurial way only because that day or that moment is not right is, I think, not something that I would personally suggest. I've had personal ups and downs in my workplace. At that point, even I felt, let me just get done with it, I'll go and start up my own thing. But then that wouldn't have worked out that well, because that is an impulsive decision. That decision of taking the leap, as much as it sounds so amazing and spiritual, that you just take that leap, it is a logical decision as well. So that is one thing that I believe in. Second, when it comes to the challenges about entrepreneurship, like you mentioned, that spending time with family, friends, the social part, I think when starting up, we must be kind of prepared that that time is going to be altered a bit. It is going to take a toll on that time as well. The work life balance comes a little later in the startup field. Like, when you are, say, 27, 28, you see around, people are pretty much settled. At that point of time, you will have self doubts. That's absolutely normal. It's just important to have that passion and that fire burning right in the heart, so that it can take you through the whole journey. It is important to have that fire, and that will only come when you're 200% logically sure about the leap that you take.
Amazing, amazing. So now we have a question from Shavik, and Shavik has just written down that he'll keep these things in mind. So the
Right.
one of the question is that in this volatile market, what are some marketing tools that you would like to suggest uh, people to use to engage? What are some tools that you would recommend?
Yeah, sure. So, a few things to keep in mind, of course, about in terms of content first, and then I'll come to the marketing bit. The first thing is that the content needs to be, very clear and edited very well, because I also feel that these days we kind of post something and we feel that why is this not working? But if the sentence is not, that clear so that people can understand it in one read, then your whole idea of writing kind of goes in vain. So in terms of marketing, also the idea that you're trying to present needs to be crystal clear to you. If you are clear about that idea, then you can definitely present it across, then you can definitely put it to your audience. So clarity becomes the first important thing. The second, in terms of the
Mhm.
volatile market, how do you deal with it? So if the market is volatile, one, you need to be aware about what's going on. If reels are coming in, if there is a new feature on the blogging website WordPress, in that case, what are the things that are changing? It becomes important. So following the updates is another thing. Number three, understanding competition again becomes a very important part. Let's say, if you are a life coach, you have a lot of competition around you. If you're not aware of what other people are doing, then in that case, you might either be repetitive, or you might lack a bit of something which the others are doing. So I'm not saying that you need to copy people, but it's important to just be aware about what people are doing. So these are a few things that you can keep in mind. The marketing tools bit, number one, the clarity bit. Number two, it's important to present your ideas in the simplest words that you can. And number three, when you are talking to the reader, do not try selling something to them. If you just be like, hey, buy, 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 the other person will be okay, buy, buy, buy. But if you kind of go up to them and tell them that this is why this thing can help you, that is when the
Mhm.
other person will be like, oh, hi, let's talk about this. So that's something that you can keep in mind.
Amazing, amazing. Now we have a question with Malini had asked is that if we do not do buy, then how exactly to highlight the content USP? That would help. And then another thing is, how can an individual be aware? Because every day something new is coming, a new feature, a new tool. So it's very overwhelming at times. It's very overwhelming at times.
Yes.
So, how to highlight the USP without getting overwhelmed, and
Right.
what is the best way to educate and create awareness?
Sure. So, see, it's about the content, no? In terms of content, what we kind of follow in Mithas also is that never tell the reader that this is what will help you. Just, show it to them with the words that you're writing. So, what is the difference between the two things? Let me explain that. So, number one is the buy thing. Now, if you are writing something and you're telling the person that this is the best thing in the whole world, now you need to get the same thing. The reader, the person, the customer that you're targeting, they also know na, that we are trying to advertise something. Now, the truest form of marketing is when the other person doesn't know you're selling something and yet you sell it to them. That is the truest form of marketing. So, what's more important in terms of that is that you kind of present your ideas with a subtle layer of marketing in it. Let's say that you're giving them a lot of information. In that information, you say, if you need more of this, then I can help you with it. So that becomes a very important part. Also, when it comes to creating content, I believe in this one word, which is a value generating post or a value generating write up. These VGBs, when we talk about them, these are posts that can tell the people about what you're doing, can distribute information to them. Once you are becoming an information based platform, once you are becoming a platform that can really help the other person grow, in that case they will be, one, a loyal fan base, and number two, they will also actually feel like investing into the services or the things that you're trying to project to them. So it becomes absolutely important to kind of give them that USP factor to come back to your profile, your blog, and then sell something to them. So that is what I kind of believe in.
Amazing. So, now the question is, how can someone monitor, analyze whether the content will work or not? Is there any metric? Like, for example, I'll share with you one of the things which I recently learned via content creator was that if you have got X followers and those X followers are not proportional to the likes on your post, then there is something really tricky. It looks like you have purchased those followers, subscribers, or those connections. So is there any way where you can see how authentic connections are you making, authentic engagement?
Right, absolutely. The point that you mentioned, that if the engagement on the post that you have is not in proportion to the followers, there's definitely some problem with the profile. The problem could either be that they're not organic followers. The problem could also be that we're not kind of, investing that amount of time in getting the audience engaged with us. So it is important to, number one, see the reach on any platform. If we see the reach of a particular post, will help you in understanding that, okay, are these followers genuinely following my posts? Because if we have, let's say, 100,000 followers and only 1,000 people are seeing the post, then it doesn't really help in terms of any lead generation, nothing. So that is number one, follow the reach of every post. And second thing that I also feel about analysis is that see how many people are actually coming to you after a month asking for your services. Because like I said, that buy nahi karna hai, but at the same time the intention, the end expectation is to sell. So it's important that we kind of look through the whole thing and then understand how much leads have we generated this month. Are they more than 10, less than 10? What is the ratio of the leads as per the followers? So that also is another way of analyzing if the things are working well or not.
Amazing. So Suraj has asked us one question, and
Mhm.
I want you to make it very generic so that it
Yes.
addresses be it any artist, be it any performer, be it any startup founder, a brief way how to create content and a manner which is effective in terms of ROI.
In terms of ROI, sure. So when we talk about content, Suraj, it kind of comes through one thing, which is observations, like I mentioned. Be it anyone, be it a student, a teacher, a life coach, anybody who's trying to build up something on the social media web, it's important to observe around that. That becomes the base thing for me. The second thing, again, when you're creating content, is to plan. So point number one, create a content plan for yourself. Create a plan that these are the things I'm going to do, be it a blog, be it videos, be it Instagram, be it LinkedIn. These are the platforms I'm going to target, and this is my way of presenting myself or presenting my brand. That becomes a very important thing. Point number two is, once you have planned it, schedule. So when you schedule your content very well, you space it out, right? You're not being this person that you post 1,000 things in 1 week and then there's nothing in the upcoming ones. So that becomes the second pointer. The third thing is, after you have planned and scheduled, then grow with every post that you post. So when I say grow, I mean that when you're posting something, analyze it, use the analysis in the next one. Let's say that you have promoted a post that worked very well in the north sector. Try doing that with the next post as well. So that growing with every post is very important, because otherwise it comes to a stagnant part. And the last bit about any kind of content that you create content that you would engage with. Like, I always believe, if you find something engaging, let's say I'm on Aditya's profile and I see the videos, I absolutely love them. So I am engaging with the information based content. So create something that you actually, relate to, you kind of are really passionate about. And at the same time, do not try to copy anyone. So getting inspired by someone is great, but if I'm taking the inspiration from Aditya and I'm creating the same set of videos, in that case I'm Aditya part 2, I'll not be Devanshi, right? So it becomes important to kind of have your own USP. Of course, creating relatable content is important, but it also becomes important to kind of have your own unique voice for your reader or your clients.
Amazing. Now, Suraj has a follow-up question,
Yeah.
which is how to ensure that there is no legal hassle in terms of the content that you have created. Because this is also something,
Yes.
plagiarism is quite common out there,
True.
and at times
True.
people do copy scene to scene and things like.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So, the best way is to use a plagiarism tool to first check that you haven't taken the content from anywhere, and also in case of videos and all, it's always good to have a fact check online before posting something, because if you are copying, you know that you have copied it, right? So in that case, you should not be posting something of that sort. But in case there is content like how to become a writer, now this content would be similar at a lot of places, so it's important to do a quick plagiarism check. There are a lot of free websites that you could check out, and I think that should help in removing the legal hassles.
Okay, okay. And how much budget should someone keep to hire a professional like you? Because trust me, individuals have no idea about this. So
Yeah.
that way.
Yes. So I think it absolutely depends on the kind of ROI that they are expecting from in terms of content. As I mentioned, that the whole thing is really varied from $100 to $10,000 as well. So it becomes
Mhm,
important to first be clear about the requirement. In that case,
mhm.
having a normal budget of 20 to 40, depending upon the requirement, should be something that should suffice for in terms of social media.
And what would be the duration of this budget?
Yeah, I think that should be around 60 days.
Okay, okay, okay. Now, let's take a scenario, because this is something which I know all the people are watching for. Uh, for example, if I'm an individual, I come across you, I can be an artist, a performer, a job seeker, or
Sure,
anyone, or a
sure.
senior professional. Like recently, I was approached by an organization for whom I did a brand activation activity for their social capital.
Right.
Now, I would like to understand from you, for an leader, what kind of activities or services would you recommend? Because you are into publishing, you are into photography, videography, you are into content creation, blog post, and other things. So, what would be the staircase to creating that social capital, to creating that persona of a leader online, of an authority in the market?
Sure, sure. So I think that's a very very interesting question, and also the things that you could do to build that brand. Number one is build the awareness about what you are doing. Like I mentioned, telling people that this is what I am doing will really help you in creating that connect with them. Number two, interact with people, interact with them, tell them that hey, this is what I have been doing. Sometimes a lot of people have inhibitions that hey, should I tell this about my achievement or not? But I kind of feel that unless you tell the people, how will anyone know? In this whole world, not everyone can know everyone. So it's important to sometimes highlight what you have been doing and what is it that makes you different from others. The third thing is that you can't really pretend to have those qualities in you. I can't pretend to be a chatterbox. I am one. Or if you are someone who helps people grow, you cannot pretend to be that wise every time. It is something that has to come from within. So that also is something that I believe in. Whoever you are, let that personality be. If you pretend to be somebody else, not too long can you be there on the social media platforms with that pretense. And finally, the things that a person can do to build that that awareness about the brand or about themselves is, of course, building the content around them. Also, telling stories about their life journeys, publishing that as a book and telling it to the people. Let's say that I have had a journey that is amazing, so that journey needs to go out to the people. How will they know unless they know what you have gone through? So I'm sure that every person who is somebody who's a leader or somebody who's trying to build their own empire, in that case they would have a journey of their own. So that journey needs to go to the people. That can be in form of a book, that can be in form of videos like you mentioned, that can be in form of their social media profiles, their blogs, their articles. So maintaining a consistent conversation with the audience becomes a must. That can be done via content, and like I mentioned, via these modes and mediums of content. So that is how they could build their social empire.
And talking of this, I would just like to tell you the vision why I started Story of Opportunity, because I want to make people become more confident about their gift, talent, and also brainstorming is something which is lacking. Like I
Yes.
mentioned, Devyanshi, you and I might not connect. We are just connected over social media, but through these live interaction, unscripted, it really
Yes.
creates that bond. And
True,
uh,
true.
this is something out there. Like I have a follow-up question on this thing, which Shavik has asked. Like, what training workshop did you attend to hone your skill in the field of content creation?
Content
Now, this is
creation.
actually funny because the first time we were introduced by a mutual
Yes,
connection, it was because of the trainings that you do online.
yes, yes,
Previously, 2 years or 3 years back, I was told that okay, you should connect with Devyanshi. She has an online infrastructure where she does workshop around blogging, writing, scripting, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. I do need to meet. And then I remember just few weeks back, we were brainstorming, chatting, and you told Aditya, how about podcast? Why don't you re-strategize your content? And that was the inspiration behind starting my podcast also. So
right.
Devanshi, just share a bit, what kind of workshops do you facilitate and what kind of workshop would you encourage other people? Because thanks to online, physical writing has gone for a toss. It's only a
Yes.
typing that is there. So what would you suggest?
Right. So, yes, absolutely. That, in terms of workshops or content creation, we do workshops around writing, we do workshops around publishing, about blogging, about every form of writing. So, we've completed Aditya successful 3,000 plus individuals that we have trained in the
Wow.
past 2 years as Mithaas,
Wow.
and the rate that we have received in terms of feedback has been of 9.8. So we were very excited a few days back celebrating
Wow.
this. Also, thank you. Also, when it comes to facilitating that content to people. I think the base of it, like I always mention, is that when you are trying to tell someone something that is helping them, that will kind of take you through the workshop bit. So when we do workshops on content, if people see growth in their business, they see something growing, so that helps. And like you mentioned, that there are solopreneurs who might not have the budget of hiring XYZ person. For them, it's important to learn those skills. So that is what we do in terms of the workshops and trainings.
So
And
tell
when
me
it
about the workshop you attended. Hmm.
Yes, absolutely. So when it comes to the workshops that I attended, well, I kind of had this journey from Miranda House. I did English honors from Miranda, and Delhi University teaches you everything along with the study, the material that you read. So I had a great time writing for my magazines in the college. Miranda had a lot of things to explore. I was working on the marketing of a few events that we were doing. So that was my workshop for me. After which I joined a multinational company. There I worked as an instructional designer, got certified into a lot of different content fields. So for me, the on ground thing became the workshop that I did. So that kind of helped me train as a content developer. And I was a workaholic. I still am, but at that point of time, I was juggling with 3 projects. I used to walk up to my manager and say that मेरे को थोड़ा काम दे दो, अभी adventure कम हो गया है. So I think that adventurous whole journey of mine helped me learn a lot in those 3 years.
Amazing. Now, a question which I absolutely would love to ask you, and which Poshali also resonate, is what kind of training would you suggest to someone who is just planning to start out? Because I really
Sure.
love the notion where you mentioned that if a person does not have the budget to hire someone, they should invest in themselves to learn. So,
Right,
what are the
right.
portfolio of workshops that you do and you facilitate? Can you just name few and also
Sure.
recommend which is your personal favorite?
Right, sure. So we do a lot of workshops for people who are trying to start their content writing career. The workshop, the complete content writing course, is one of the best-selling ones in Mithaas as well. It includes blogging, articles writing, it includes social media copywriting, instructional designing, and also a content portfolio creation. So these are the things that we include in it. It's basically end to end, right? Because you start with learning about it, and then you're actually implementing it in form of your resume or your content portfolio. So this is one workshop that I absolutely recommend. It's done by experts as well along with me, so that would really help. And then we have A to Z of blogging, A to Z of social media, website writing. All of these are present. There is a workshop that we've introduced recently, which is on instructional designing. So I have worked 3 years in it, and I have a lot of experience in hand. That is one thing that we are coming up with. And yeah, I think any of these, if you're interested to start your career in content, it will definitely help you.
So, how much time would it take for any individual to at least touch the tip of the iceberg? What would you say?
Right. I'll tell you about my workshop mates. So recently, our team member completed a workshop. He was amazingly good in that workshop, and there were 3 people who got immediate internships just out of the workshop. So that was just like 15 days, and then it was done. In some cases, we find people coming to us and telling us that, hey, we got through in this particular thing. So somewhere around 15 to 20 days in terms of learning content is, I think, sufficient. And then taking it seriously and reaching out to people, that is another thing. It completely depends upon the dedication that you are putting into it. But at the same time, I think learning it first will help you escalate the whole process better. So the thing that would take, say, 7-8 months, like generally, it would come down to a 2 to 3 months of finding things in content right for you.
Amazing, amazing. Now, there is this amusing question which I just couldn't resist presenting on the screen, which is like, what's your opinion that selling
Yeah.
start where advertisement ends?
Right. This is that bye 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 wala thing. True, true.
Exactly.
So
Mhm.
I think that if you are there for a reason, if you have an end expectation from what you're doing, it becomes important to sell with everything that you do. It's just important that you don't need to let the readers or the clients or the viewers know that you're selling something. So the subtle aspect of content that becomes the key of selling your products or your services. So advertisement is there in everything that we are doing. Even if you're not saying buy this, there is a subtle advertisement that follow me, reach out to me for this. So there is that buy wala thing in everything, but it's just important to not let that be visible to the person who we are targeting.
Wow, wow. Now this is something which Nitish has researched around, that you are the youngest author with the most books under the bestseller category. Now, have how six books? Seriously, how have you done that?
Thank you. First of all, that's really sweet. Yes, so it's been collectively, the initiative that I had taken as a writer when I started writing. So it was something that I just wanted to do. Slowly, I worked on my first book. It got published. It gave me a kick that now next one ahead. So I think that was the journey how it started. The turning point, of course, was no matter what I do, it got selected by Srishti Publishers, one of the leading publishing houses in India. And it was since then a collective, effort that the publisher and I had put into the book. And yes, the moment somebody texts me, saying that, hey, we read the book, it's going amazing, I am so excited. That is the kick that keeps me going through in terms of writing. So that's really a beautiful feeling.
Amazing, amazing. And now a follow-up question which we have from Shavik is: do you have any
Yes.
favorite characters that you have written, and what makes it special for you?
Yes, I think every character that I'm working on at that point of time is my favorite. And then when it is published and the next one comes in, it gets replaced. So at the moment, I'm working on the character of Sanj and Aditya. They are one of my favorite characters. And the thing that makes it special is that I'm living their life at that moment. So at the moment, I am living through those characters. That makes it all the more special for me.
Amazing, amazing. Good, good, good. Now, Vikram has asked us, what exactly do we mean by writer's block?
Right, right, right. Writer's block. So I'll give you the normal definition and then my own definition. Writer's block for people is basically when they are not able to write and they feel that it is something external that's not letting them write. Like, you have all the ideas, you have everything perfect, but you're not able to write. Now, that is what the Google definition and how people see it. Very personally for me, it is that phase where the circumstances or situations are not working out, or I am being very lazy, or I am not able to convert my thoughts into the ideas. So it is not something that is an external force, it's internal. That block is internally in my head at that point of time. So any situation where you're not able to present your ideas in the way you want, that is for me a writer's block. One way of dealing with it is that unless writing is your first priority, do not write it. If you're doing it in a secondary, third phase, then it will not come out very well.
Amazing, amazing. Now, Shavik has asked, being an author, what kind of books do you read and recommend?
Right. I read a lot of books from different genres. Number one, because I am an English honor student. So for me, I've kind of read through American literature, British literature, Indian literature, and Hindi literature as well. So in case you ask me, being an author, what kind of books should you be reading? Whatever genre that you are writing in, it's important to first understand that genre. That understanding would come only by reading it. So let's say that you want to write a thriller book, read Agatha Christie to know how she kind of portrays the things into the books. Then if you're trying to write a self-help, it's important to read those books as well. In terms of writing, take my book only. So it's Write It Down is here. And this is for writers, hashtag very non-subtle marketing, but you could get that as well.
Come on, you should do it. I invite people for this pure purpose only, that please be blatant in terms of promoting yourself. Okay, so tell us more about it. Write it down. Tell us more about this. Write it down.
Yes, so Write It Down is basically, a book written for writers. I'll show it to you guys. It's here. It's basically about the steps of writing. It talks about the writer's block. It talks about the plot, characters, and publishing as well. So it's basically an A to Z for writers, and it has a lot of practical tips from my own writing experience.
So just show it on the screen and tell us where can we book a copy.
Sure, so it's available on Amazon. You guys can go and get a copy of the book as well.
Amazing, amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, a quick time check. Type in excited in the chat box. Type in excited in the chat box. I would love to see who all have been there for the last 60 minutes. Type in excited in the chat box. I would love to see the energy flowing because Devanshi has some special giveaway. Type in excited, ladies and gentlemen. We are waiting to see who has stuck around for the last 60 minutes. And we are just seeing so many responses and I'm displaying it. Amazing, amazing. And that's the beauty. That is what I love. So we have got so many. Shubham is excited. Poshali is excited. Shavik is excited. Pampi is excited. Ladies and gentlemen, showing some love, showing more excitement. Showing some more excitement. Amazing, amazing. So, since this is the season finale, of series 2, and we are looking forward to some sponsors who are very nice and kind enough, like Devyanshi. So, if you would like to sponsor us, you're most welcome. You can connect with us. Now, as a
I would
special
like to
season finale,
Yeah, I would
please,
just like to
please.
add one thing here, that being the sponsor for these 8, sessions with you, Aditya, and with S Visions as well. So one thing that I would like to definitely tell everyone watching is that it kind of adds a lot of value. It did to me as well. So a very big recommendation that please do. It will help you grow in terms of your brand as well.
Amazing, amazing. Now, this is totally unscripted. If
Yes.
you would like to be live right now, if you would like to be live right now on the studio, just tell me and you will get a link to join the studio right now. If you are excited to join the studio right now, if you are ready, prepared, because this is something that is why I call it stories of opportunity. Would you like to join in the studio right now? Type in one in the chat. Type in one in the chat. Type in one, and we'll share the studio link, and you can join us in the chat, and you can join us. So I would like to see, because this is my giveaway to the people for the season finale. I would like. So Poshali is the first one who we are going to invite. So Poshali, we are just putting in the chat and join that link, and you can come live, and then you can directly ask any one question of your choice with Devyanshi. So Poshali, just give us a minute. We are just pasting in the studio link in the chat, and then you can join us. Great, great, great. So okay, just a minute. We are just typing it in the chat. Okay, so Poshali, and then we have got Nitish also. So because both of them had typed in one, so Poshali and Nitish, do join us from the link which has been shared with you. Do join us, and you can directly ask our speaker, because this is something which I'm planning to give away, that people can join. So yes, Nitish, oh my God, yes, please join in. Poshali, do join in. Now, now Shavik is also there. Okay, okay. So Shavik, you are also getting the link. So we are inviting in people, and I would like to make it a mega fun one. So please do,
Super.
Shavik, Nitish, Poshali, do join in right now. Do join in right now. We are waiting in the studio. We are waiting in the studio. And till the time, so Divyanshi, tell us, what would you like to give to a lucky viewer for today? Any question you can ask, and the best response you get, you can give it. Now,
Okay.
because you have been kind enough, so one question, and I'm giving you the spotlight. one question you can ask, and the best response you feel, you can choose that person. I'm giving.
Sure, sure. So the question is that if you had to define content for yourself, then what would it be? Like if you had to define what content means to you, what would it be?
So you have got time if you had to define content. So Shavik has joined us in our studio, and I'm
Oh, super.
adding Shavik on the screen. Okay, I'm going in the back end, and Shavik would be in the front end. So Shavik, be ready. You are coming on.
Sure.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Shavik. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing good as well. Thank you.
Ma'am, can
Yes.
you
So
just repeat your question, ma'am? I didn't heard it.
yeah. So my question is that what is the meaning of content for you? How do you define content?
Ma'am, content is something which I think expresses my ideas and helps it to reach a wider audience through which they can also connect, and that's how you build relationships, meaningful relationships through your content. And creating content, like you said, it's going to be out there on the internet for a very long time. So creating good content and valuable content makes a difference to many people.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, ma'am, that's it. That's what content actually
Superb.
means to me.
Superb, superb. That's amazing, Shavik.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is there anything that you also wanted to ask?
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to ask that, ma'am, like we know that in this plethora of content that's available on the internet, ma'am, how do you think about new ideas, new and unique ideas, and execute them? Also, ma'am,
Sure.
how do you overcome your self doubt, ma'am?
Right, right, right. Absolutely. So, Shavik, one part about this thing that you asked, how do you create new content? How do you create unique content? See, I just believe that by being yourself, that you can kind of just eliminate that as a challenge. When you think as who you are, when you think as Shavik, that is
Hmm.
when you can create the content that is not repetitive in terms of how you present it. See, there are a lot of things, there is everything that has been told to death, but it's important to have your own voice. That voice will become the USP, that voice will bring in freshness. Everybody is doing the reels, but how do you kind of present it, how do you kind of put it across, that depends on your voice. So
Okay.
that is the first thing. The second part of the question, can you repeat that for me?
Ma'am, like how do you overcome your self doubt? Like how is it going to be different from others? Is it going to create
Uh-huh.
any value or not?
Yes. So, number one, not comparing yourself with the others become the first part.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
you are preparing and strategizing in terms of content needs to be your own content, needs to be your own competition. Like I mentioned in the in the whole thing today,
Hmm.
that it is important to analyze how your posts are doing, and each post should help you grow. It's
Right,
important
ma'am.
that every post is helping you grow better. So just compete with yourself, compare yourself with it.
Okay, ma'am. Understood. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Shavik. Thank you so much.
So we have got Nitish in the house, and Poshali is also joining us. So I would be adding Nitish to the stream, and
Sure.
Nitish, over to you. And we have got some amazing responses, which I would be displaying after Nitish and Poshali question has been
Definitely.
asked. Just a minute.
Hi, Nitish. uh, Nitish, I can't hear you. Hello.
So till
I
the time
think
Nitish
Nitish
is
is
checking
joining.
his audio, Nitish is joining us. Nitish and Poshali, we'll request you to please be ready. And this is a special feature which I'm adding uh, for our upcoming series. So
Oh,
if
love.
you would like to directly ask our host, be ready for that. So Nitish, Poshali, please work on your technical stuff. And Shavik has a big smile and is saying, thank you so much for this amazing opportunity. It was lovely to talk to you.
That's
Okay.
just the
So,
same from that.
and Devyanshi, that's really sweet of you. So, Devyanshi, in the meanwhile, let us just see the responses which people gave to your question. And I'm
Sure, sure,
just displaying them on screen, starting with Mamta. Okay.
sure.
So, this is Mamta's response, pouring my heart out and touching other people too.
Okay,
Okay. Then
that's
we have
beautiful.
got Shubham. Content means a simple strategy to reach the audience.
Wow.
Pampy has written, it is something I can relate with my thoughts, the one that I can tell a story. Then we have got it from Suraj, content hyphen, putting the thoughts of our understanding in the most effective way. Rupesh has content in something which helps to sharing thoughts, opinion to audience and connect to the audience. Okay.
Beautiful.
And Naveen has okay, so this is what. So who would you choose? Rupesh. This is Rupesh response. Okay.
Yeah,
Then this is Suraj response. Then this is Pampi response.
sure.
And this is Shubham response. And this is Mamta's response.
All right. So I think all the answers were truly amazing. That's the first thing. And I genuinely mean it because content has a different definition for everyone. I think Mamta's answer kind of just took away my heart as well when I read it. So, congratulations, Mamta.
Great, great, Mamta. Mamta, just stick around. I'll be telling you how you can claim your giveaway via Devyanshi and Mithaas Services. Okay, so we have got Nitish back in our studio. I would be
Super.
going in the back end and I would be bringing Nitish in the front end.
Sure. Hey, Nitish. Hi, but I still can't hear you. Sorry? I can't hear you. That's, I think, the work from home thing for all of us. So just check that once. I
So,
think,
no issue. So, I would really like to thank Devyanshi, who has supported us by being our partner, by being kind enough to bring Mithaas Services on board and being our gifting partner, our gift hamper partner. Devyanshi, it has been an amazing journey and thank you for your support. Any
thank you.
last message you would like to share for the audience and your experience today?
Yes, so I absolutely loved it. My Sunday evening was, spent in the best way possible. That is number one for me. And I actually enjoy discussing a lot of ideas with you personally as well. So it was a super fun conversation for me. It was definitely something I enjoyed a lot. Also, the people who joined us and, stayed with us throughout the last 1 hour, 10 minutes, all of you, thank you so much because it was fun interacting with all of you as well. And lastly, before we sign off, I would just like to say one thing, that content is no rocket science. It is something that just requires dedicated efforts and perseverance. So if you are someone who absolutely believes in your brand and yourself, content is the right thing for you.
Amazing, amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see the credential where you can directly reach out to Devyanshi, her credentials are given on the screen. Do stay in touch with Devyanshi. She's active over Instagram. You can also visit her website to know about her services, about her upcoming workshops, and you can also connect with Devyanshi over LinkedIn. So, Devyanshi, Poshali has just joined us. I'll just
Sure,
plug in because
sure,
I
sure.
feel like Poshali does deserve a chance because she was the first
Absolutely.
one. Just give me a minute.
Absolutely.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Pashali. How are you?
I'm fine. What about you, ma'am?
All good, all well.
So, ma'am, my question is, ma'am, how SEO is important for any content writing?
Yes, it is. It is pretty important. It kind of defines how well can someone find you on the plethora of articles and websites on the web. So, in terms of content writing, the keywords become, the central part when it comes to SEO writing. In terms of content writing, I always feel that those keywords then drive the whole content. So SEO is important. In terms of SEO writing, it is a completely different thing. So understanding the analytics and then writing about it is how it impacts content writing.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, dear. Thank you.
So thank you, Devyanshi. So Mamta, I'll request you to please send in your mailing address, your email address, and your phone number on our ID, which I'm going to display on the screen. Please email us so that Devyanshi can send you your personalized gift. That would mean a lot, and I'm just displaying it on the screen. This is the idea. hi@coachsisodia.com. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for showing your love. And without your immense love and support, I couldn't have done 2 seasons of Stories of Opportunity. So now we are working on, and let's see if we are able to come back with the season 3.
I'm sure you will.
Thank you, Devyanshi. It has been amazing hosting you, and I would love to stay in touch with you. And
Absolutely.
thank you once again for your love and support.
Thank you so much, Aditya. Thank you so much.
Amazing.